Still unknown to most people, electric car startup Rivian has just pulled off something that even Tesla couldn't when it was their time. Forbes contributor and the Rivian reservation holder Tom Moloughney will explain how they have managed to do that. And in other electric car news, Subaru unveils an electric crossover. First Tesla semi-truck may be delivered within weeks, while Elon Musk makes his own splash on Wall Street, and what looks like another electric pickup truck, but not, goes on sale in a few days. All of this is coming up next. Welcome to E4 Electric. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. First of all, thank you to all of you who have wished me a happy 5-year anniversary. I really appreciate it. Yes, this channel is now 5 years old. It can now walk and talk and use a toilet all by itself, mainly to poop on Toyota and Honda, but you know, kids. This is the very first video that I have ever posted on this channel, which originally was called Everything Tesla. My weekly videos were 60 seconds long, and apparently I owned better clothes. Let's move on to our top story, and this is a big one. This week, Rivian has gone public and has now become, and I hope you're sitting down for this, second most valued automaker in the United States and fourth most valued automaker in the world, only behind Tesla, Toyota, and the Volkswagen Group. Yes, Rivian is now worth more than Mercedes or Ford or General Motors or Honda or Nissan. This is crazy. And they did it the right way, not via a reverse merger like the other EV startups, but an actual IPO, just like Tesla did back in 2010, but in a much more epic way. Wow, an all-electric car company that's not Tesla, from which I can buy stock shares and actual vehicles? What's next, Rivian? Not having your vehicles spontaneously catch on fire? The IPO is also bringing in almost $12 billion in cash, more than doubling everything that they have raised before from huge investors like Amazon, Ford, and other power players. That's a lot of money, but now Rivian can buy itself something pretty, like a nice watch or a fancy second factory. Either is going to look great on them. Rivian became America's biggest initial public offering since Facebook, but that's not very surprising because, much like Facebook, Rivian's product was also designed to drag people through the mud. And it is also the 6th largest IPO ever on the US stock exchange. There were a lot of interesting reactions to this IPO, so let's talk about a couple of them. Of course, Elon Musk had to chime in. I'll tell you what he said in just a second, but before that, a quick reminder that this video is brought to you by Flow. Who said home chargers can't be sexy? With its elegant design, the Flow Home X5 features beautiful curves, sturdy 100% aluminum casting, and plenty of cord length. Give your garage some sex appeal by using our exclusive $150 discount in the description of this video. And by NeoCharge, avoid arguing with your landlord about installing an electric car charger. Just plug in your smart splitter from NeoCharge at your current rental and take it with you when you move. Get yours by using our discount code in the description of this video. So Elon Musk has tweeted in a response to Rivian's IPO to point out that mass production and profitability is the big test for Rivian and that he hopes they achieve it. I'm assuming it's because Elon wants to make sure Rivian has enough cash to pay Tesla if they win a lawsuit that Tesla has filed against Rivian, claiming that Rivian has stolen its trade secrets by hiring Tesla's former employees. What trade secrets? How to bring the very first electric truck to market? That's not it. Where the fourth motor goes? That's not it. I know, it's how to showcase the features they can never deliver. Now it makes sense. The other interesting reaction to Rivian's IPO came from the CEO of General Motors, Mary Barra, who pointed out that the logical conclusion based on Rivian's IPO was that the General Motors is, and I quote, so undervalued. Well, see, Mary, if I may, Rivian has 2 electric vehicles in production right now, and you guys have none, since your Bolt production is still on hold. Plus, let's also remember that Rivian is making more EV models now than they used to, and you're making less. Remember the Spark and the Volt that you've discontinued and replaced them with what? A deal with Nikola? Originally, Rivian was founded 12 years ago and was operating in a stealth mode for about 9 of them. Rivian's founder and CEO RJ Scarinch initially wanted to make an electric sports car, but then decided to go with an electric pickup instead. I'm assuming because it was much tougher to fit the portable kitchen into a roadster. The R1T and R1S were unveiled at a private event in Los Angeles, which I was lucky enough to attend right before the 2018 LA Auto Show. Rivian has become the very first automaker in North America and Europe to bring an electric truck to market, but before that, it has started their electric van deliveries to Amazon that we recently learned owned as much as 20% of Rivian before the IPO and appeared to be a higher priority to Rivian than its electric truck customers. However, one of the other Rivian's big investors, Ford, does not seem to be as involved as before. Even though it held around 12% stake in Rivian pre-IPO, it has recently lost its only seat on Rivian's board of directors, and Ford's Lincoln division canceled their plans to build EVs with Rivian last year. For more, we turn to the Forbes contributor, the host of the State of Charge YouTube channel, and most importantly, the Rivian reservation holder himself, Tom Moloughney. All right, Tom, what a crazy week. So is this a confirmation that Tesla wasn't really a one-off phenomenon and that the future and the value of automakers is in making electric cars?
So, Tesla proved that there is a path to profitability making electric vehicles. Nobody believed that before Tesla. The whole industry said that you just can't make money on these, let alone a startup being able to make enough money to keep going. So they paved the way for the Rivians of the world. But that it wasn't only on Tesla's back. Rivian has a compelling product. They have huge order from Amazon. They've gotten glowing reviews from the journalists that have driven the vehicles, myself included. So that really, added to the fact that they've had such a successful IPO.
Okay, so now we recently found out that Rivian's focus may not be on delivering the trucks to the common folk, but more on, Daddy Bezos and the Amazon order. But now they got another daddy, which is a much bigger boss, essentially, which is the investors and the Wall Street. Could Rivian possibly be at risk of losing authenticity from the EV crowd as a brand that's making the trucks for the people, rich people, but people nevertheless?
Wait a minute, I'm not rich and I'm getting one, but let's put that aside for now. Did Tesla lose their authenticity when they went public? No, it just kind of made them even, more beloved. So I don't think that that's going to be a concern, Alex, quite honestly. Rivian is selling a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle brand. And, I think they've done a really successful job positioning themselves to that right now. And, could they trip up? Of course. But, all indications at this point show that they know what they're doing. They know the path that they want to take the company on, and it's worked so far.
Now, when we talk about brands that one day in the future possibly can overtake Tesla and be the #1 brand, we usually talk about the Volkswagen Group. Sandy Munro recently suggested it could be Ford. I think we all agree if Toyota decides to get their crap together, they might actually be on that list as well. Should we add Rivian to this list as well? And if we should, what do they have to do in the next couple of years to kind of validate that?
Well, there'd be a lot they have to do. As you mentioned, they're selling very expensive vehicles. Now, the commercial vans aren't tremendously expensive. That really could be their ultimate really volume play, at least from their product portfolio that we see so far. But they're never going to become an enormously high volume automaker with the R1T and the R1S. in order for that to happen, they've got to go down market. Tesla didn't sell, tons of vehicles until they went down market and started selling a vehicle in the $35,000 to $40,000 range. That's really what jump-started their volume, or really made the company explode. So, if Rivian wants to get to that million vehicles a year and so forth that we hear, they're going to have to introduce newer vehicles that are lower priced, that can sell in higher volume.
Don't forget to subscribe to Tom's channel. Yes, that's right, he's got one of those as well. I put a link to it in the description of this video. Before we get to our next story, let's check out the grumpy comment of the week, and this one comes from one of my rare female viewers, Akira. She says, "Excuse my bias, but you are incredibly funny for a Russian." Well, Akira, and you are an incredibly good speller for a YouTube comment section dweller. And I'm only saying that because I am assuming you've added the E at the end of bias, because E is... Right. And Russians are funny. We joke all the time. Check this out. Knock knock. Who's there? KGB. KGB who? We will be asking questions. See, it's funny because KGB is one of the worst things that ever happened to Russia, and one of their former bosses is now running it. See? It's funny. Told you. But let's move on to the next story before I get poisoned. Subaru has unveiled its very first all-electric vehicle, the Solterra. I am assuming mainly so they can stop poisoning the backdrop of most of their commercials, the Earth. This electric crossover is a result of a 2-year joint development project with its biggest shareholder, Toyota. I don't know why it took 2 years to copy and paste what is obviously the Toyota's upcoming BZ4X crossover with a Subaru logo on it, because this is essentially the same car. It will have a 71.4 kilowatt hour battery with a little under 300 miles of EPA range for the forward-wheel drive and about 250 miles for the all-wheel drive. It will DC fast charge at up to 150 kilowatts. Nothing special, but it should be a decent EV depending on what they're going to price it at. It will make its US debut at the Los Angeles Auto Show this coming week. I'll be there. As you know, I am a brand ambassador and the host of the Zivas, the LA Auto Show Electric Car Awards. The Solterra will go on sale next year, including the United States. Elon Musk has announced that he was thinking about possibly selling 10% of his stake in Tesla. And to make sure that he made the right decision, he turned to the place where all good decisions are made, Twitter. That's right, the richest guy in the world has decided to let Twitter make a major financial decision, not just for himself, but for the company, the investors, and probably the entire stock market. So he created a poll and promised to abide by the results, which have come back as a yes. But before the results were in, he kind of told us he was going to do it anyway, since he said he needed some cash to pay taxes. So it's kind of like when your wife asks you if it's okay if her mother visits next week and stays for the holidays. Her mother is staying for the holidays, and your quality time with her is not. Anyway, now Elon wasn't really lying. He really had no choice but to sell a lot of his shares because of a large number of expiring stock options that will create up to $15 billion in taxes. But that's nothing compared to $50 billion that he lost as the Tesla shares tanked once the poll was posted. So far, it looks like he has sold about a third of the promised stock, but again, he will replenish many of it when he exercises more options. But the real winner in all of this was his brother Kimball, who has sold 15% of his stake in Tesla before Elon posted the poll and thus triggered the price drop. Yeah, and Martha Stewart was the one who had to do time. Let's talk about Pepsi, and PepsiCo CEO Ramon Laguarta said that the company is expecting its first delivery of Tesla's semi-trucks before the end of the year. Thank God they will finally let professional drivers behind the wheel and not some random YouTubers who happened to bypass security. Originally, PepsiCo ordered 100 Tesla semis, but I'm assuming they will only get a couple before the end of the year, which was already surprising because about a year ago, Elon mentioned that the production of the Semi was on hold until Tesla could make its 4680 batteries in high volumes, which is definitely not anytime soon. Now, it's great to hear that PepsiCo trucks will be easier on our lungs, so now the only thing that will poison you when it comes to their trucks will be, you know, the product they're actually delivering. Kandi America, remember them? Has introduced its first all-wheel drive off-road EV, the K32. While it looks like a pickup truck, it is not. It is a utility terrain vehicle which is not road legal. So it's kind of like having one of those bowls on your kitchen table with fake plastic fruit in it. I mean, it looks great when your mom comes over, but little that she knows, her son isn't getting any fresh vitamins. The K32 will come in two variants. The base standard range model will have a 20.7 kilowatt-hour battery with 60 miles of range for $28,000, and the long range variant with a 50 kilowatt-hour battery for up to 150 miles of range for about $35,000. And even though those prices are before the incentives, these are some very expensive plastic fruits, and the deliveries are expected to start in the next few months. If you remember, Kandi was supposed to release two budget EVs here in the United States last year, the K27 and the K23, but things have gone downhill after a report from the Hindenburg Research, the company that exposed Nikola, citing some major issues with the company, and we haven't heard from Kandi since. Don't forget to join me for our weekly subscriber hangout this Tuesday at 1 p.m. You can set a reminder on the homepage of this channel, alright? Looking forward to all of your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.